Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 136 and I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. As usual, here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
I'm alive again, which is nice. Fucking guts are playing up again. Yeah. But I'll be okay. I think it's similar to what was happening at the start of last year. Remember I was having gut problems then?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably it. I mean, minus the fact that I've now got a Brovis trying to climb me.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's probably a good thing. It makes me feel good.
Probably could have left the dogs in the house, couldn't I? But
nah.
No.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Keeping busy as one can. Super busy, actually. But I have to throw a bunch of respect out to all of our listeners who play music, who go out and play music, who do gigs, anyone that does functions, anything like that. Because it's an art form, it's a skill, having to learn songs and memorize songs. I'm very much throwing myself into making sure I've got this New Year's gig prepared, and it's like 45 songs I've got to learn. Like, that's a lot of songs to learn.
Yes, a lot of songs to learn.
With a lot of chords in all of them, because it's all soul, jazz, and funk. So there's a lot going on, and it's definitely a skill. I was talking to Melissa about it. I don't know. You know what it's like to know hundreds of songs because you have that skill. Melissa doesn't really put any thought into it, and she's like, "Yeah, I think if push came to shove, I can probably play, 200 songs off the top of my head. Like, just pick up her acoustic guitar, play them, and sing them." And I'm like, "How? How does one go about doing that?" So much respect to all of you people out there that do that. That's where I've been throwing my time and attention into learning songs and
that's cool,
memorizing all of these fucking songs. But it's a lot of fun.
Aye, definitely. It's hard to draw a line if you're enjoying yourself between practice and actually just having fun sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is where, if you can abandon the mindset of practicing to some degree, as in like it being a chore, probably find that you remember songs much more because you'll just be in the moment with it. Yeah. But on top of that, you haven't really been sitting learning songs for like quite some time anyway. So I don't want to say out of practice, but it's a muscle you need to flex.
Absolutely, yeah. So. And I'm not saying it's any of it's a particular struggle. It's actually really enjoyable because it is practice. It's a different form of practice. But you know me, anytime I can sit and devote some time to getting better at something, I'm super up for that. So I'm having a blast doing that, and that is taking up all of my time. I'm doing virtually no transcriptions at the moment, making sure these gigs are. I'm having like a career change. I'm going into the live sector again, the sector where I know that there's no money. Fantastic! What a wise move. So yeah, anything interesting happening in your life?
Yesterday, which would have been Friday the 3rd, Party Can released their second single from the new album, I Believe in Danny Filth. Music video to follow on Monday, which will be very fucking interesting. We only got the finale basically last night, so it was a bit hard for us to try and...
What time is it launching on Monday?
I don't actually know. I don't think it's been properly scheduled yet.
Okay.
But...
probably before the podcast has gone live.
I would think so we can link it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for people to see it.
It's great. I've seen it, and it's a lot of work has gone into it. Crazy amount of work, actually.
It is fucking ridiculous.
We're just going to be pestered by dogs the whole time. I can see it, but such is life.
Pestered. Don't listen to him. Speaking of pestering, did you know?
This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So, as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. Mike bought his his SX, I assume, or no, the Goliath. You
No,
brought
the Goliath.
with
Put
him.
the Goliath.
Bought the Goliath with him with the intention of hanging it on the wall behind us, but I'm like, well, I've got 2 Ormsbys there, so we don't really need to.
Shite bag.
I've not backlit us actually. I should keep talking.
I will keep talking. Aye. Well, I found that I've been playing that Goliath quite a lot. I didn't get much chance to play it when I just first got it because I was unwell. I've not even had it to like practice. I didn't get a chance to take it to. I didn't even get to go to the gig in Cardiff.
Sure.
But pardon me, I have been playing it quite a lot, and it is a ridiculous guitar.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Guitars are nice. Having
Yes.
guitars is nice. Yeah. I'm nerding out on string gauges at the moment.
Oh, I was there
Yeah.
a year or 2 ago, and now I'm just like, can I have a gauge that is easy to buy, please?
Yeah. I've played 10s for years and years and years, and then I started to like the sound of 9s, but now I put 9s on my Strat and don't like them. Just don't like them. Don't like the way they feel. Don't like the way they sound. So I put a set of 10s on. I'm like, okay, yeah, these feel much better.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the sound, but I'm not quite there. So 11s. We're gonna try some 11s. See how they go.
A plain or a wound G?
A plane.
Boo! No, it's fair enough. When you're
Oh.
playing something with single coils and stuff, if you're wanting the twang.
I picked up some of the XTs as well, which are the new D'Addario strings. I've got to give those a go. And we talked about it on the podcast last time.
You would, wouldn't you?
The headstock tuner, the USB chargeable headstock tuner. I thought I'd grab one to see how it is. Obviously, I've not opened the box yet.
You
Much like the Spamp, I'm sure it will still be in that box in 15 years' time.
probably.
But yeah, looking forward to trying all of that stuff out. So I will report back when I find out. But I think I like thicker strings because I like, especially if digging in for rhythm guitar,
Mm-hmm.
having some spank coming back at you is nice. And I find that as much as I've been telling people how much I love playing the Strat at the moment, I have started to find that the neck pickup on there just isn't fat enough. Even compared to my telly, which has a much fatter sound.
Mm-hmm.
I go on that neck pickup, I'm like, why is it so...
Shrill.
I don't know if shrill's the bridge pickup I would describe as shrill.
Definitely.
Yeah, but why is it... Twangy doesn't feel like the right word to describe a Strat, but you know what I mean? Like, thin doesn't fit. It just doesn't have any meat behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, is driving me... Not driving me crazy, but I think I'll get a little bit more out of some heavier strings. So, there you go. There's
What
my nerd
pickups
stuff.
are in your Strat?
Whatever, and the Eric Johnson. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
I think they're vintage style pickups, but with a hotter wound bridge.
I was going to say if they were overwound, maybe even an overwound neck would help as
Yeah.
well. It balances out for you.
But reality is, I'm not going to really change anything on the guitar because it's a. See, tell a lie. Actually, I am going to change something about that guitar. I'm going to take it down to Davey, and I'm going to have a rewiring done on it
Mm-hmm.
because what I have found is with a 5-way selector,
Mm-hmm.
neck pickup, use it all the time, right? Neck and middle, never use it. Volume cut is ridiculous. Sounds way too thin. It's not really practical. Not going to use that whatsoever. Middle position, quite a nice tone. But what you find with a 5-way, it's hard to select that middle position, right? It's hard to select a middle position. Bridge and middle, possibly my favourite sound. I'm going to use that more than anything for rhythm guitar stuff. It sounds great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bridge pickup is great, but not for what I'm needing it for, right? So my 2 main positions are going to be the neck pickup and then the bridge and middle together. But it's hard to go to that bridge and middle. So I'm going to have it rewired. So the bridge and middle is the back pickup position switch. So I can easily flick between those 2 sounds, my rhythm tone and my lead tone. I think that probably makes me a crazy person, but that's how it's going to be.
The other option you've got, which a wee bit more work, but also not quite as much hassle if it comes to reversing it, is just have a switch put in that bridges your bridge and middle position, so that if you've got the secondary switch on, for example,
so the back 2 positions would both be that.
so all you need to do is move the blade back and forth, and it won't matter.
I mean, you say less modification, but that means putting an additional switch in. That feels like even more modification.
I mean, for like moving it back to whatever you've got. I mean, you've still got the bridge pickup.
I still
use
have the
on
bridge
its own.
pickup. No, I would have that, but it would be in
Position
that
2 instead.
position 2, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of like when you think
Weirdo.
about. Well, I am weird when you look at my Telecasters. I flip the bridge plate round on them, and I don't change the selector switch. So if I want the neck pickup, I flick it back, so it points towards where the bridge is. But I know that's my neck sound. So ultimately, right, playing music, having guitars, they're all just tools, and we should use them to do what it is that we need to do.
And you and I are tools.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of tools,
Sorry, I totally cut you off
took
there.
me off there. Speaking of tools, let's move on and read a couple of bits of fan mail before we go on to our stories for the day.
Yeah, so let's see what's going down.
Sakai Campus wrote in to talk about. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't vetted these two emails. They could go into horrible white supremacy rants. I don't think they're going to. Probably not.
Don't see it happening.
Probably not. We have nice fans. But I can't tell you what it's about before we read it because, been busy. So go on.
Hi, Sakari. Hey there. I told I would post this, so here I am. See the beautiful board below attached for your viewing pleasure. The cables are a mess, but I'll clean it up later.
I'll bring this up for people in a second.
That's the right approach to building your pedal board. First thing you need to do is make sure that when it's plugged in, you get all the noises you want. Then you worry about cable management. That's the right order. Anybody else that tells you otherwise is not a musician. They're an engineer, and you shouldn't trust them.
Yeah,
Well, you probably should trust them, actually. Way more than me when it comes to wiring and safety.
I don't trust people. I'm just flicking around like 100 things here so you can keep reading while I bring these pedals up.
It's good.
For people. There you
go. As I've given some talk on my mental health in the past mails, I'm still doing fine. Work is a bit stressful right now as we arrive to a year's close. Also, we're probably going back to working full-time from home. Fun. Well, it has its ups and downs, that's for sure. Given my and the world's current situation, I think it will actually be the better option. See, I think the same. I think a lot of people are...
Depends how you cope with it. Some people love it. Some people really struggle.
Easiest
thing in the world for me.
It's because you've done it forever.
I'd have more panic attacks. Feels like the wrong way of describing it, but my depression
Anxiety.
would be a hell of a it would be much more hellish if I had to go into an office where people were, because I don't like being around people. I like working alone.
I think you like being round about people at your own discretion.
Yeah.
You are very sociable, but it's on your terms.
Yeah.
It's a good balance. I like it. And that's fair. That's fair. I think some people will struggle with it. Or bound to. And God knows I did for the couple of months I was working from home.
Yeah.
In a call centre capacity. It just wasn't good. See if I was working maybe on I don't know, data processing or something. Maybe I wouldn't be too bothered.
Sure.
But yeah, each to their own. Mike wasn't in the last episode due to being sick. Down with the sickness. Ooh, Hope he's recovered and is doing well. Yes, thank you. Melissa was great, don't get me wrong. Nothing ill to say about her. It was great to hear her bring different points of view to the table. Let's face it, she's better looking than me and she's probably better chat.
She definitely said eat the rich, I think, once or twice on the show, so it's like you.
She didn't say fuck the Tories, no?
No, she didn't. She may have done. I'm
going to make her date for Christmas, just for me. That's my present. Thanks for doing the podcast. Always brings a smile on my face. Kind regards, I'm assuming that's Saki.
Yeah. So just comments on this pedal board. It's really funny. I love a big pedal board. I absolutely love a big pedal board. But also it gives me the heebies about looking at that and thinking about how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to press certain pedals, right?
And just in general, man. And it bewilders me when I see guys with ridiculous pedal boards.
Yeah.
And I think it's even more bewildering when you see 700 pedals on a pedal board and then somebody's got maybe a 6-way MIDI switcher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the fuck did you work out where things go on that? How did you work out how to wire that?
To be honest, what I really wanted for this upcoming run of gigs was the a Carl Martin Octa switch or whatever their current switching system is, because then you have all your pedals in individual loops on the switcher, and each patch on it is essentially you flick switches on it to say when I press this, it's using this pedal, and this pedal, because that way you can go between your clean tone and an overdrive with delay, or just at the press of one button.
I take it that's an actual analog setting then, because you're using the dip switches.
Yeah, so those are really, really cool, but they're quite pricey, and they just end up taking up more space. And I don't want more space. But when I look at this, I have a couple of comments or questions. One, I'm fascinated by this pedal up here. I don't know what this is. I have no. I mean, there are
an Empress.
I don't know what most of these things are, to be honest. But this looks wild. That display on it is just wild. I wonder what it's displaying.
Those Memory Man pedals are quite sought after at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just a bit big, aren't they?
Well, that's pretty much like all the older EHX stuff.
Yeah.
Actually bulletproof.
Yeah. But the other thing I have to comment on is I need to get my hands on some of these buttons that you put on top of the pedal switches, which I'm sure the idea is just easier pressing on the buttons, right? So
easier to see on stage as well, rather than just a silver switch.
Yeah.
If you colour code them, I'm assuming has been done here.
I don't think he's colour coded though. I think he's just got them so they match his pedals.
If that's the case, that's still colour coding in my mind.
I guess, yeah, technically that is correct. Beautiful looking pedalboard. So well done on that, sir. And I'll update people as and when I make more changes to my board. I was thinking about it on the drive home about things that I can tweak on there, because one of the tunes that I'm playing is
Is it? Hey?
Yeah, it's just completely left my mind. Hang on, let me pull up the name of the song. I hate this.
That's what you get for being a gigging musician.
Let's Stay Together, Al Green.
Tune, by the way.
Great tune. But I'm just listening to it when I'm playing it, and I'm like, my guitar is very dry. I've got a phaser on the board for modulation effects, but phaser's not really the right tune, the right vibe for it. Like, it wants a light chorus, and I don't have a light chorus on the board. And obviously I have a very nice chorus pedal. I've got the Analog Man bi-chorus, wonderful chorus. I don't think there's a better chorus on the market, but it's a big pedal, and I don't want to put a big pedal on the board for one tune.
Totally.
So if I switch the delay out for maybe a mini delay and a mini chorus, all these options, so many options.
Could you not use your delay and then just turn it to like just above threshold of 0 and then get your chorus effect from that?
I don't like the idea of having to tweak with pedals on the gig because something will go wrong.
Just an idea.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the best part, isn't it? Like, all of this stuff is just ideas, and that's why I like pedal boards, because it's like, oh, what let's have some ideas, let's see what we can do, come up with some cool ideas. So thank you very much for that piece of fan mail. Let's go on to another one.
Thanks, Saki. And we've got Jeffrey Tomita writing again. Hi, Jeffrey. Hello, gents. Lately, I found myself in a bit of a musical rut, and I'm listening to the same music over and over again. Same, by the way. Lately, it's been Dance Gavin Dance. I know many people find them unpalatable, but I really do love the energy of their records. They're a band that I've never really got into, but they're like, the stuff I've heard that's good is really good. It reminds me of Protest the Hero and Fall of Troy and that same kind of scatty madness. Have you heard much Dance Gavin Dance?
Not at all.
I believe Josh Travis, who also played in Glass Cloud and Muir, played with them for a while. But like kind of mathcore, I believe. I've continued my listening to the old episodes and came across episode 8. In that episode, you brought 2 records up by Jerry Reed and Leprous and gave a homework assignment to each other. I was wondering if you could share some more records for us to go and listen to broaden our horizons, as I really enjoyed listening to some music that was outside the norm for me and found your suggestions quite helpful.
Well, that's a great idea. Well, I think like Album Club was an idea. We both love Album Club.
Right.
But at the same time, the only thing that got in the way of Album Club is like, I'd give you an album, you give me an album, and we just constantly find ourselves in a position where we hadn't really had enough time to digest the other person's album to the point we could have a really good, solid conversation about it.
Yep.
But I'm just floating this as an idea. Mm-hmm. We could maybe continue to try and run Album Club, but have more audience participation.
Yes.
So we could suggest a couple of albums that people go and listen to, and then you guys send in some mail to tell us what you thought about the albums. That takes a lot of the pressure off of us. So if that works for you, I'm happy to throw out a recommendation right now. Because there is more to read on this email, but I'll just throw out a recommendation. I'm noticing constant shifts in my music consumption. Mm-hmm. I'm always listening to new things. And the thing that really highlights that for me is like obviously Spotify Wrapped. That's the thing that everybody's posting on social media at the moment. Not that I consume all that much media on Spotify compared to a lot of people. I did 15,000 minutes of listening, and that's like half what Melissa did, and a fraction of what I see some people doing online. But I use that as a good measure and stick of the genres that I've been listening to. And rock just didn't appear in my list whatsoever this year. It was jazz and it was soul. Last year it was all gypsy jazz. That didn't make a lot of piano showing up in my Spotify. Mm-hmm. So point is, like, I am always trying to broaden my musical horizons and listen to new things, and that's been great for me because it has changed who I am as a player. So. Jeffrey, the recommendation I would give you, I thought I was going to recommend Danny Gatton's Relentless, though I would, of course, recommend that. I would encourage you to go and give the Charlie Hunter live album, Charlie Hunter Trio, live at the Memphis Music Mansion. I'm going to bring it up for you. It looks like this. I love this record. I didn't realise how much I loved this record until I was looking at my Spotify Wrapped, and this just dominated most of my listening for the year, which is crazy because it came out towards the end of the year, so that tells you how much I listened to that. So yeah, I would recommend going and giving Charlie Hunter's Trio live at the Memphis Music Mansion a go. And when you're listening to this, from a musical perspective, just kind of focus in on the fact that this is a trio. There's no bass guitar in this. It's just Charlie holding down the low end while he's playing all the lead stuff. It's a really nice groovy album, real good vibes on it, and I dig that. So I would recommend you go and check that out. Any recommendations from you, Mike?
I'm looking through. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but that can be my homework to go and think about something else to go and have a listen to. Because I think I'm in a bit of a rut as well, personally.
Yeah.
So
okay, I want you guys listening to the podcast to go and listen to that album. Not everybody. I mean, if you've got the time, do. And then write us a little email to GsolesFanMail@gmail.com to give us some feedback.
please.
On the note of audience participation, I need to mention Buy Me a Coffee, because they've done us in. They fucked us. They fucked everyone. They fucked themselves, actually.
What happened?
They no longer accept PayPal as a payment method or a payout method.
Okay.
So I imagine our page over there will die now overnight, because PayPal is a convenient way for people to pay for things. They take Apple Pay and credit cards and debit cards and the like. But if you are a contributor on Buy Me a Coffee and you want to keep supporting us, go over there and make sure you update your payment details. I have to say though, like, from our perspective, now it's like, cool, now I've got to work out like international bank transfers just to get the money out of the account. It's a mega pain in the ass.
Yeah, no thanks.
And for a site that brings in maybe $50 for us a month, it's so it's a very questionable decision on their part. So yeah, let's just finish his final paragraph here.
Additionally, I've been a bit of a whiskey rut, and I'm hoping you can make some recommendations for us. Lately, I've been drinking bourbon, because America, and Ardbeg, because I love the aggression and intensity that they bring, but I know that all of my close friends can't stand the sensation of drinking a recently extinguished campfire. Any suggestions are welcome. With any luck, I may be able to get my hands on some over on my side of the Atlantic. Love from the States, Jeffrey. Thanks, mate.
The thing I have to say on whiskey is I don't consider myself a particularly adventurous whiskey drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drink anything, but I know what I like and I buy what I like, and I like Balvenie.
Yes,
So,
can't really go wrong with Balvenie Caribbean cask.
No, not even the Caribbean cask, just the 12. Yeah,
Can't really go
Caribbean
wrong
cask is nice. That's a 14. You got the 12, the 14, and the 17. 17's wonderful, but it's like £75 a bottle.
No, thank you.
Yeah, whereas the 12 is just a fantastically drinkable whiskey. So I can't make all that many recommendations on that one, Jeffrey. There is a whiskey company that is looking to send us product for our Christmas stream. They want to send us product for us to drink and talk about. The product looks great. I like the branding. They're fans of the podcast. The guy we're dealing with likes the podcast.
Nice.
And likes Party Cannon.
Poor guy.
But talking cold hard business, just sending us. I don't need you to just send us product. I've got plenty of whiskey in the house. I can just drink plenty of whiskey in the house. If you want to be on the podcast in a way that we're going to promote you to people, you're going to have to sponsor the show. That's the only way that's going to work. And if we just don't need the product otherwise. So we're not marketing your product to decent guys like Jeffrey here, unless there's been something in it for us. Because guess what? I'm just going to recommend Balvenie. Go get yourself a Balvenie, Jeffrey. Go get yourself a Balvenie.
I personally love a wee Jura. Very peaty. So it might be up your street, Jeffrey. You can get the Origin one. I think it's the most common, and it's pretty tasty. It's smooth, but it still has plenty of peat in it. So
to be fair, I do actually quite like a bourbon as well now.
Yep.
Because it goes great in an old fashioned. So.
I absolutely love a mint julep.
You do?
So
yeah.
I have to have bourbon in the house. And I've always drunk bourbon more than I've drunk actual whiskey.
And of course, on the Charlie Hunter album, track 2 is called
One Mint Julep, which is one less than I actually want to have right now. Bastard.
Okay, let's start the show by talking about. Just move things around. There's not all that much for us to actually talk about.
No, there isn't.
Let's talk about the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters cancel show after venue refuses to turn away unvaccinated fans.
I don't care where people stand on the COVID side of things. Before we even read the story, I just have to say much respect to a group sticking to their integrity, having some sort of integrity. This is our position, and we will not put money ahead of our own integrity.
Health and safety.
Sure.
Integrity, health and safety.
Yeah, similar, I guess. I was going to say same thing, but not strictly true.
No, but it's, different actions, same outcome.
Yeah, but yeah, having health and safety as a high value to yourself and sticking to that is an integrity thing. So.
Yeah, fair, totally fair.
So,
So just a day after announcing a whole mess of new North American live dates for 2022, the Foo Fighters have cancelled one of these shows because the venue won't comply with their COVID-19 safety measures. The show in question was scheduled to take place at the Huntington Bank Stadium located on the University of Minnesota campus in Minneapolis on August 3rd. The band says in a statement, Due to Huntington Bank Stadium's refusal to agree to the band's COVID safety measures, Foo Fighters are unable to perform at that venue. We apologise for any inconvenience and are working on finding a suitable replacement, one that will prioritise the health and safety of everyone working and attending the show.
Once again, good guy Foo Fighters, which you just see.
I'll be interested in seeing this Studio 666 when it comes out.
Yeah,
I think there was a trailer dropped yesterday, but I never watched it.
I'm just seeing if there's any additional information in here that's worth mentioning.
Probably isn't, and I think this is not going to be anything new. I think this is going to be something that will be... sorry, I don't think it's something new. I think it's not going to be something that will just be a flash in the pan. I think this is going to be ongoing for some time.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it on the show last time when we talked about the idea of having pro and negative COVID music scenes. People that are supportive and people that aren't. Because, I mean... I respect the Foo Fighters in this one. At the same time, even though I disagree with their position, I have to respect, what's the name of them? Huntington Bank Stadium. I have to respect their decision on this one, just purely because they clearly hold a position, which is the COVID thing is nonsense. Or I would say that their position is implied. And they weren't willing to compromise on that position, even in the face of money, because having the Foo Fighters play in your venue will make you a lot of money.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
So according to the Star Tribune, University of Minnesota requires its students to be vaccinated, but the stadium has not mandated masks, proof of vaccine or negative test results for outdoor events. This seems to be the sticking point for the Foos, with U of M PR Director Jake Ricker admitting that the university declined to change its existing protocols for large events, which have been effective. An interesting one, isn't it? Because they're not saying that there aren't... Not... They've kind of proven that there isn't really as much care and consideration as other places might have. But there's still some involved. They've just drawn their own line. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite unfair to say, like, as if they're like anti-vax or whatever.
Sure, but it would just be so easy for them to say the Foo Fighters want to play here. People have to wear masks or show proof of vaccine. Cool, no worries.
Here's a negative test. Give us it at the gate, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's like because it's like who do you think that you're going to be turning away from this gig? Foo Fighters fans. Who do you think is going to be coming to this gig? Foo Fighters fans. Like what? There's nobody going to be. Like they know in advance, the Foo Fighters have been very clear on their stance on these things. In theory, they shouldn't be having to turn anyone away whatsoever. It's ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, you would like to think that it's a relatively meaningless notion. The Foo Fighters have said, "Don't come to our concerts unless you're vaccinated." You would like to think that would mean people won't come to their concerts unless they're vaccinated.
But they're saying that the university requires students to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
The stadium doesn't have that as a necessary step, though. So
sounds like they should fix that.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of making money. Speaking of making money,
Motley Crue sell catalogue to BMG for an estimated $150 million. BMG's Dr. Feelgood now, eh?
This is the reason this is such a funny story is because one of the more vivid memories that I have of reading, it was either The Dirt, the Motley Crue autobiography, or The Heroin Diaries, probably The Dirt. There's the story in there of Nikki Sixx going in and somehow managing to negotiate the band's catalogue as them owning it, rather than it being owned by labels and publishers, etc. And he couldn't reveal how he did that. Based on where we are now, probably knew that someone was fucking kids. Probably knew someone was taking trips on the old Epstein jet. Probably.
Jesus Christ, that went dark.
It did go.
I did not expect that. I'm sorry. You got a genuine reaction from me.
How are you gonna get like record executives to just hand over millions of dollars worth of value? And surely the only answer to that is If you don't, I will ruin you. And
You'd have to know where the bodies are buried, wouldn't you?
exactly that sort of thing. So yeah, let's take a look at this story.
I can't think of any other way it would work.
Yeah.
Hard rock band Motley Crue have sold their recording catalogue to BMG with some estimates placing the value of the sale at $150 million. The sale includes all of the band's recorded releases, totaling 9 studio albums, starting with the 1981 debut Too Fast for Love and ending with their 2008 record Saints of Los Angeles. Blah, blah, blah. A source told Variety the estimated total for the sale was $150 million. However, other sources have claimed a significantly lower dollar value on the sale. Variety stated this discrepancy could be attributed to the way the deal is being paid for. It's possible the smaller estimate is what's been paid up front, with the rest of the value of the sale being paid on completion of the band's 2022 North American tour.
This statement, it feels amazing to be collaborating with our new partners at BMG. If they've bought your stuff, you're not partners.
Yeah,
they fucking own you, or they own what you did. So
you no longer have the relevance.
Yeah, stories like this are obviously where they come up time and time again. They're going to come up more and more and more. And I think that Motley Crue have probably done the right thing here in the same way that everybody that has done this has probably done the right thing, just purely because they're speculating on the collapse of the industry, right? That must be it. It's like there's only so much more money we're going to be able to make from our catalogs. If we feel that we can make $150 million from these in our lifetime, then you wouldn't sell them. And the record labels are betting on the opposite. Point is, as time goes on, there's going to be less and less budget available for record labels to do this with artists' entire catalogs.
Mm-hmm.
So the artists that are getting in early on this are probably the ones that are going to be getting the best deal. Whereas if Motley Crue had left this another 5 years, that offer might have been $20 million.
That's really fair, eh?
Yeah, when the kind of the shifting in the music industry and the where we place value on music, etc., when that begins to settle, you might find that they regret this deal. Either party might regret this deal.
I don't imagine bands will regret this deal because it doesn't look like it's going to go well. It's funny you say that. I didn't even think that. It's possibly been that steady decline in what the financial value of your music is actually worth.
Yeah.
These guys used to make millions, potentially, touring like out in the most ridiculous, like, of lavish lifestyles, to now getting 0.00008 pence per stream on Spotify. Fuck, I'd be like, you know what, give me 30 million at that.
Yeah.
You just can take your fucking £6 a year royalties.
Here's the thing. So 150 million, let's just say 150 million, let's say that's confirmed. For the sake of argument, Motley Crue got 150 million for their catalogue.
Yep.
What would they have got if they offered to sell their entire catalogue to BMG 20 years ago? I would imagine probably significantly more, right?
Do you mean at the time or in general, relatively?
Yeah, if in the year 2000 they went to BMG and was like, we're thinking of selling our entire catalogue, how much would you offer us? I imagine they'd offer significantly more than $150 million.
Probably. Because
they were looking at the state of the industry at the time and how much potential revenue that could be made off of the recordings.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, at the time you'd offer more money. And that's why I say this is probably the right thing to do, because 20 years' time from now, you wouldn't get $150 million.
I don't think so.
Offered for something like this. So, yeah, I guess well done, Motley Crue. Not that you need it. Not that you need any money. And Jesus Christ, of all of the pictures they could have picked, I'm just going to bring this up for people.
They always pick really bad ones of him. He looks like a pug.
Why? But why Vince Neil? He's like the least important member in the band. Literally the least important member in that band. I mean, I know he's a singer and everything, but like everybody else in that band is iconic in terms of their look and their story and, you know, the antics that they get up to. What's Vince Neil famous for? Two things. One, running people over, and two, not being able to sing anymore and being fat. Like, that's it.
Supposedly he had quite a good comeback just recently.
Singing?
Yeah.
That's not what I saw.
No, I've not seen it, but I'm talking like the last couple of days. Maybe it was bad, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mick Mars, you think Mick Mars is more important with a better story than Vince Neil?
He's got a much more interesting story than Vince Neil, yeah.
For about 3 years that he could do anything?
Well, but therein lies his story. He's significantly older than everyone else in the band. He's got a degenerative spine problem. And he looks like the Crypt Keeper. He's always looked like the Crypt Keeper. I definitely think he's more interested. Given the choice of sitting down and having a conversation with Vince Neil or having a conversation with Mick Mars, I'd definitely be more interested in talking with Mick Mars.
Ah, okay, fair
And
enough. I concede.
he's more of the songwriter as well, so more of a songwriter than Vince. So
Yeah, fair.
And I mean, obviously Nicky Sixx and Tommy Lee. Like,
This has just caught me completely off guard, but look at the headline on the right-hand side of that page. MXR puts Tom Morello's tone in a box with the Power 50.
Do you want me to click it?
No! Fight the power, Tom.
I know. I hate him so much.
I'm just fed up with it.
I just hate him so much.
And
it's not because of his political views. It's because of it's not even him. It's
I
the
used
way,
to hate teachers. I didn't trust anyone. Buy my stuff.
It's the way everybody else looks up to him. It's the way everybody else talks about him. I just can't. I can't see what people can't see. I can't see how people don't get the massive hypocrisy. It just makes no sense to me. So I'm sure he'll be the next to sell his entire record collection. So let's do the World Alive story. Word Alive, sorry.
This is a really interesting one, actually.
There's a follow up to this here. So
is there?
Yeah.
So the World Alive had all the stuff robbed. They tracked the items and then managed to get their stuff back. Somehow amicably, taking photos with the people who potentially stole their stuff. In a baffling series of events, industry vets the Word Alive were robbed in Michigan today. This wouldn't have been today, it would have been a couple of days ago. Thanks to Apple's AirTags, the group tracked down the muggers, and frontman Telly Smith, along with 3 others, decided to confront them and walk away with what was stolen. Telly quotes, started off the day by getting robbed, then tracking them with AirTags, showed up, and this is how it went. Thank God, Phil the Light Guy had AirTags, you beautiful man. He continues in saying, we said we didn't want any problems, we just wanted our stuff back. They complimented my Ethica underwear. We said it's all good, gave them some weed, some whiskey and $20 as a peace offering. It's relieving to see that no violence took place during the confrontation. Everyone involved is safe and sound. With so many bands losing their prized possessions due to theft during tour, it's reassuring to see that AirTags are an effective countermeasure. Whether confronting a mugger on your own terms is a safe move or not, though, is up for debate.
Yeah,
I think Apple have done this as a wee viral throw. Buy your AirTags, they'll save all your gear.
I definitely don't think that's the case.
No,
the reason I say that,
silly.
I know you're being silly, but they didn't tag Apple on this, but they tagged the brand. Is the Ethica underwear? Yeah, like this is
nice.
You could go as far as saying that this appears like a sponsored post when you're tagging a brand in like that. The cynic in me wants to say that this entire thing is staged. You know, what a great if an underwear company approached us and was like, we want to do some sort of promotion with you guys to reach maximum amount of people, this would be the best thing you could possibly fucking do. I'm not saying that is the case, but
I don't imagine that Bobbags, who are, for anybody that's unaware, a Scottish underwear company that do boxers for guys, I don't imagine Bobbags would ever turn around and ask a band, can you stage being robbed and then getting your stuff back? So
no, I don't think I don't think the brand would suggest that. I don't think it would be the brand's idea. I think it would be more, you know, the sponsee, is that sponsor and sponsee?
No,
I don't know what the correct verbiage there is there, but we'll go with it.
Sponsor Ed.
So the sponsored.
Yeah,
I guess that makes
Sponsor
sense. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it is a very strange. Everyone looks so happy in this picture, and it's like, what have you got to be happy about? These people mugged you. They stole from you. You've gone out of your day, gone out of your way to track them down. You found them, and you've got your stuff back, and you're celebrating the fact that they weren't violent with you, but you had to give them money and drugs and alcohol. Like, this doesn't seem like a happy scenario.
I think they haven't told the full story. If you look at this photo, right?
Yeah.
Go back to the photo if you can, bring it up on screen. They've all just got blazing high and decided that bygones are bygones. You guys take your stuff. We're all high, it's fine. Look, here's 20 quid, right? Just, come on, we're pals now, come on.
We're all just, like, one in the universe anyway, man. So, like, you know, I'm going to take my stuff back, but, like, really it's your stuff as well, because it's all just, stuff just doesn't mean anything. Like,
we are just dust in the wind. It's lunacy.
Yeah,
it's lunacy. If it's true, I would love that.
Here's the follow-up.
The Word Alive's Telly Smith addresses confusion over how band recovered stolen gear, which is fair. Excuse me. Word Alive singer Tel Smith has clarified some aspects of how the metalcore band handled recovering their stolen gear while out on tour this week. On Monday, November the 29th.
That's the same thing.
Okay,
so,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Fielding reported criticism about how they retrieved the gear and their seeming friendliness with the apparent perpetrators. Smith revealed on Tuesday, November 30th, that the group had notified police of the situation, but he said the officers never arrived, so the band improvised. Smith said, "To anybody confused, yes, we called the cops. No, they didn't care, nor did they come. We had to leave out of state to continue the tour. We knew approaching them non-aggressively was smarter. We tried to make the most of a bad situation in hopes of getting our belongings and staying safe." Pardon me. He added that the alleged thieves aren't our friends. They thought we were by the end and wanted a photo. Knew this would be one of the most ridiculous stories ever, but shit, glad we handled our own shit and everyone got out safely. That's all I care about. Fair enough.
Yeah. Anything else?
There's not really anything else in here.
No.
It's plausible.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
But who am I to argue otherwise?
I think
I'm actually just glad to hear a happy story about a band getting their stuff back, because the amount of times that you hear about bands getting just fucking robbed left, right and centre, man. Stop leaving your equipment in vehicles overnight. There's the gist of it. I'm not saying that to blame you. I'm not saying to blame anyone, and I'm not saying that because it will stop 100% of thefts. But if you give opportunities to people, they will take them. Every single countermeasure that you put in place is nothing more than giving you time to protect your stuff. The longer it takes and the harder it is for somebody to get to your stuff, the less chance they're going to try. Don't make it fucking easy. Know what I mean?
absolutely. Sure. Speaking of people getting ripped off,
Stevie Ray Vaughan stage played Fender Elite Stratocaster, purchased by Mark Tremonti, goes up for auction. This is only about 19 hours ago, so this will be fairly up to date. The unusually spec'd 80s era 6-string, which is swapped hands with two of the biggest names of blues and metal, features pickup selector buttons and a unique vibrato system.
pickup selector buttons.
Is this
How
Dan
old is
Smith
that?
era?
I don't know.
It looks like the Dan Smith era trem, where it's like not
Sure.
rear recessed. It's just
says,
cut at the top like a slab top.
yeah, of course. Tyler Larson's gonna get his hands on it and not.
Don't
be able
you
to play
dare
it.
take our stories.
Yeah.
Music is not one. A Fender Elite Stratocaster, which has been played on stage by blues guitar legend Stevie Ray Vaughan and owned by metal maestro Mark Tremonti, is set to go up for auction at Gotta Have Rock and Roll. The bizarre-looking electric guitar, a far cry from traditional Fender Strat that Vaughan favoured through his career, is an example of an Elite Strat, a forward-thinking redesign as a 6-string that came out in '83. That will be Dan Smith era.
Okay.
Vaughan, who's wielded the quirky 6-string for a show in the Palace in '89, signed, dated and sold the Strat for charity, with the following owner placing it on display at the Rock Walk in Los Angeles. That's until Creed and Alter Bridge's Mark Tremonti came along and purchased the guitar in 2001, hopefully to play a beefed up chug-heavy version of Pride and No, shut up. Just
I'm just gonna bring it up for people so people can just see it.
pretty certain it's a Dan Smith.
Yeah. Is there?
Are there more photos now?
Can't really zoom in more than that. No.
I thought it said 1 of 4 there when you had them up. Did it? It is, yep.
Oh, okay. It's 2.
2, but of the same.
Doubled. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. So, the Elite Stratocaster, which has been handled by two of the biggest names in blues and metal worlds, is up for auction once again and is estimated to sell for up to $150,000. Why? Why?
Piece of history, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah.
An unusual guitar that Stevie Ray played for a charity gig that
Who-
Mark Tremonti bought.
So hang on, does Mark? Who owns it now?
Might still be Mark Tremonti. I'm pretty sure it said he was putting it up. No, sorry. Scroll down a wee bit. He had it before he sold it on to Carter Vintage Guitars.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Right, so somebody's... Okay, fair enough. Who cares? It's probably the worst thing to say, but at the same time, really, like it's not like it has actual pride and joy or like one of these ridiculous guitars. It
Yeah.
is a
Played it once.
random spec.
Yeah. When you can tell somebody the gig and the year and the venue that the guitar was played in, that means you're having to work really hard in order to add some credibility to this instrument.
I'm all for like these instruments having some sort of extra value, like anecdotally. from them being like played by somebody famous or whatever. I don't think it adds to the point where you would say this guitar is worth $150,000.
Yeah.
Why? Where's the heritage?
They're all just tools at the end of the day. Like, the thing I find really fascinating is, like, if you think of let's use the Eric Johnson Strat as an example.
Mhm.
So the one I've got, the 54 Virginia, it's a reissue of the custom shop version of his 54 Strat, which he used to record most of the Avia Musicom album and also used on the Live in Austin DVD. You would think that when it came to making this custom shop one, what they will have done is they would have just compared it to Eric's one and made an exact. Eric doesn't have the guitar anymore because there just came a point in his career where it just wasn't the tool anymore, and so he shifted it and he got another tool. They're all just tools. So putting some sort of, unless a guitarist has only used one instrument and that's the only instrument that they ever use, then maybe. When you think of like Van Halen and the Frankenstrat or Bumblebee or whatever, those are iconic enough to really mean something. But
No, fair.
with someone like Stevie Ray Vaughan, picking up a guitar once and using it once, like, who cares? Just who cares? He played it once. He played it once. Like, I've got guitars that Zach Wilde's played. Is it
Once.
is it worth? Is it the same
Of course
thing?
it's worth more now.
Played it once.
Of course it is.
Played it once.
Aye, I love that pattern. And you see it quite a lot on classified ads, private sales.
Yeah.
Signed by, and it's like that. You do get it quite a lot. I don't know why it happened so much in Glasgow for the last 10 years. It could be down to the fact that we used to have a shop called Stuff that sold autographed official items, and you see people like official signed McFly guitar, and it's like the cheapest Encore you've ever seen in a terrible frame that's been designed for the guitar with a wee terrible plaque and a bit of paper that's just been printed off somebody's computer that somebody signed.
Yeah.
Probably has been signed by McFly, but then people are saying like it's a collector's item and it's worth £1,500. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's not significant to the band. It's not got any lore attached. There is no value. It's a shite
You've
guitar.
got a guitar that's signed by somebody famous. Interesting. I don't see a signed instrument there. I see a damaged instrument. It's got pen on it.
For some people, aye.
Yeah, it's been ruined. When I my Sir Guthrie Govan that I carried around for years everywhere, and got signed by famous people when I interviewed them on the back of the headstock. It had like Guthrie on there, obviously, but guys like Mike Stern and Greg Howe and Bumblefoot were all on the back of that headstock. And I didn't want to sell it because of that, because it was like, oh, this is super cool. But there was not a single part of me that was going to go, this is somehow now more valuable, because it's just not. It's just not more valuable. It's got some pen on it. So you've got pen on you. Right, let's move on to the main story. Steve Vai returns with new song, Little Pretty. I have no interest in listening to it. I don't really want to talk about this, but it's the closest thing to a main story that we could possibly have. Plus, he's got a new guitar that he's showing off.
I've seen it, and it's
I'm just not interested.
something.
Some of you guys will be interested, though. And I want to sit here for 15 minutes and talk about it and ridicule you for being interested in it.
It's no longer a podcast, it's a personal attack.
Yeah, it's character building, guys. Tune in every week. You're not allowed to turn off, and I'm just going to sit and berate you.
That's it. Berating and beating will continue until morale improves.
Yeah.
Steve Vai is back with new song Little Pretty ahead of the album Inviolate on January 28th, 2022. Like Levi, I'm not that fucking bothered. Unusually for Vai, he tracked Little Pretty's dark-toned fusion funk workout on a Gretsch hollow body guitar. Oh, that'll make Ibanez really happy.
Yeah.
It's on the wall with all the other guitars, and I'd always just look at it and go, one day I'm going to play you, said Vai. Mission complete. It's very Vai, whatever that means. Vai chuckles, describing what we can expect from Inviolate.
Describing someone yourself in the third person, right? Okay.
Oh, you narcissistic self-wanker. Oh,
because that's a quote. I mean, we are just looking to poke fun at him because we just kind of do that.
If anybody said that about themselves, I would call them a fucking narcissistic wank.
Yeah. I think if you said it's very me, that works, but it's very Vi, you're third person in yourself. And yeah.
Aye, but then also going, whatever that means. Ha ha ha. Right, cool. So you're describing it using your own name in the third person and then vaguely saying that as if someone else passed it off and you just heard it. What? Are you living in like a fifth dimension above this? Like fucking lunatic.
Well, you know what it is. It's all that Patreon money.
Hey, get the Patreon money. Get the Patreon money. I don't know why I started singing that there. You know what that was based on? Do you remember what character was it? Was it San Andreas?
I never played San Andreas.
Oh, there was a GTA game where you would. I'm sure it was like a Saudi prince or like an oil baron or whatever, and there was a song in it. It was Arab money. We're getting Arab money.
Right.
That was based on that. Sorry, we'll just continue. Someone else might be better than me at explaining what that is, but it's just very honest music. Because a lot of my records, they're long, and there's a lot of concepts and playing around with stories. This one is none of that. This is 9 pretty dense, all instrumental compositions that I wanted to capture and record so I could get out there and play them live for people.
Don't care. Let's go on to the other story.
Wait a minute. So my other albums, they're songs that I want to play live for people that I want them to listen to. But this one, this is different. This is full of songs that I want people to listen to.
Yeah, it's when you've recorded as many albums as someone like Steve Vai has, it must be a real chore to come up with a good reason to convince people to buy it and make it sound fresh and exciting. Because you can't just go, it's another album. If you've heard the last lot, you've probably got a good idea of what this one's going to be like. But if you liked them, you probably like this one. If you didn't like them, you probably won't like this one.
I'm going to put an album out of 10 songs that are actually just silence. And I'm just going to say, well, just imagine what I'm playing. Imagine how I sound. You know how I sound. Just imagine.
Very Vi of you. I like that. Yeah.
Thanks. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
So, behold the Hydra, Steve Vai's new triple-necked beast of a guitar. When you're saying beast, if you mean it needs to be taken out in the woods and put down and buried, absolutely. Look at the fucking state of this.
Well, I will bring it up when we read about it. If you're going to describe it as a beast, I hope you mean in like the Scottish sense of the word, in that this is
a pedo.
Yeah,
it's definitely a sex offender. It's just.
I feel violated looking at it. I will bring it up while I
violated. Fucking away you go. You meant that. Look at it, ladies and gentlemen. So that one's got 8 frets. It's a 12-string guitar with 8 frets. The middle one, well, that's a 6-string, obviously, and that looks to have.
No, it's a 7-string.
Sorry, it's a 7, and it looks to have the weirdest and shittest headstock I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Then the triple neck is obviously, because why not, a bass where only half the strings have frets. And then obviously you've got all the metal plates and gizmos and gadgets and the weird fucking harp bit at the bottom.
And the thing that's weird about that, right, is the half frets thing is the wrong way round. Like, I toyed around with the idea of having a fretted and fretless guitar where the bottom 2 strings were fretted, potentially the bottom 3, so you could play chords and riffs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had top 3 strings were fretless, so you could, slide and play melodic stuff. You wouldn't want to do it the other way round. Oh, you know what I really like? I like my root notes to be ever so slightly out of tune, but then when I switch over to playing high solos, they're going to be pristine.
Stevie Wonder does steampunk.
Yeah, and kind of similar notion on the fretless side of things on that 12-string. Like, again, the idea of fretless beyond a certain fret on the guitar, I can get on board with that as an idea. I can see potential in that. Maybe above the 9th fret, I could get on board with that. But on a 12-string, you're doing a lot of soloing on your 12. It just, yeah. Anyway, let's read the
and it's like a sustainiac or some sort of sustainer pickup, and that neck on that 12-string as well. It's just Stevie Wonder steampunk. Look at it.
Let's find out where it came from.
I can already tell. Fucking Fukushima. Come right out the fucking nuclear horror that is.
This is the elephant's foot of Chernobyl.
That's exactly what it is. Get it right back inside that fucking whatever you call it. The what's the name of the dome? The husk, whatever you want to call it. Fuck it, it'll come back to me. The Hydra was built in conjunction with Ibanez's designers. I'm going to hold you to that terminology because I don't think they designed this at Hoshino, with the steampunk motifs coming from an idea of Vai's. The one-bodied, 2-headstocked, 3-necked Hydra is a key to a creative wonderland for Vai, with 7 and 12-string guitars, a 4-string bass, sympathetic harp strings, half-fretless necks, single-coil, humbucking piezo and sustainer pickups, floating and hardtail tremolo bridges, plus phase splitters.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yes, I want a guitar that does everything, but I want you to make it as impractical as you certainly can. It's the ultimate studio guitar if you have 9 arms and 75 rigs.
It actually surprises me that this was made by Ibanez. And I don't know if I believe that. And the reason I say that is there's no Ibanez branding on it anywhere.
It was made in conjunction with Ibanez.
Yeah.
So they might not have built it. They might have helped with the design.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like that. Everything about it looks
Terrible.
I don't know
It's
if
just
terrible's the right
is.
word.
It really is. It's terrible.
When you look up here, this looks like someone painted this at home. Like the red on the under. It's not like a solid coat of
But
red.
that's definitely an RG headstock with some plastic.
Good point.
Definitely an RG headstock.
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't noticed that.
And that's all Ibanez hardware. The trem is an Edge.
Sure.
The nut's definitely an Ibanez nut for a 7-string. The 12-string headstock looks very Ibanez as well. It's like the Paul Gilbert.
So
See the
down here,
older-
we'd be saying that this would be like a Vai guitar, maybe. The top horn has been cut out of, and they've bolted a neck in there. The bottom horn has been reshaped to look like that, and then they've just bolted something on here.
I don't actually think that. I think that full big lump of wood that has been violated in so many different ways is actually one piece of wood.
Right.
And then it's had loads of shit clamped on and spun in it because there's a bit, maybe it's just the colour of
I
it,
should
but it
probably
looks like
bring it
there's a
up
bit
when
of
I'm talking
consistency
about
on the
it,
grade. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
So, stupid. It's probably where we're at with this one. Stupid.
Yeah. I guess what I have to say when I look at something like this is
Why?
this is what
Why?
people are having to resort to in order to get you interested in their new album. Probably not worth hearing.
It's just,
Especially when the lead single of the track is like, oh, actually, I recorded this on a Gretsch hollow body.
aye.
Oh.
What a weird guitar. Like, there's so many things about it where you know what it's like? See The Simpsons when Homer designs the car?
Yes.
The automobile of the future.
Yeah.
Steve Vai's done that with this. What he's went is, these are all the things that I want, and rather than putting them all together in a convenient package, you just put them all in.
Yes, it's
Jeff Goldblum, what would he be saying?
can do things, but probably shouldn't. I mean, it's trying to push all the boundaries and do all of these interesting things, but like
Jeff Goldblum writing fucking haikus or something?
there's no multi-scale on it anywhere either. So it's like you had so much potential there.
It's just,
I still I think in terms of like what an instrument is capable of, I still think that my hybrid guitar is more outrageous than that in terms of, you know, what it is.
aye, of course it is, because what you have is something that's been considered to be practical.
Yeah.
To give multi-functions in one use. Like, there's thought into the execution. And granted, there's been thought into the execution of how do we fit 3 necks onto a body on this. But don't get as many points for their execution, unfortunately, in my mind. They also have 3 separate types of nut for these instruments.
Yeah.
So the 12 strings
up.
got what looks like a brass, almost 0 fret.
Yeah.
Then you've got the lock-in trem nut on the middle neck, and then what looks like a 0 fret or like a nickel 0 fret or a plastic nut. I wonder how much difference that'll make in the sound between the different instruments as well.
I mean, factor in the vastly different pickups in all of them.
Yeah. It's
so unbelievably dumb as well, because I don't know what this has in terms of outputs on it, but if it's only one output, that you'll be sending your bass guitar through a guitar rig. And if it's got 2 outputs, I don't get it. I don't understand. Obviously my hybrid's got 2 outputs, but I can play both of them at the same time. With this, you're only ever playing one. So
it's fucking ugly, and it's stupid, and it's impractical, and I think that's as much as we need to say on it.
I'd like to think that I'm organised enough to be able to do edits to this podcast. I know I'm definitely not, but I'm going to try. I wasn't planning on editing this right after the podcast, but I'm going to do it now so I don't forget about this bit, because I really want this to be in. I want to do some post-processing on this and put a bunch of reverb on my voice when I do this. Throw it in the Hopefully you remembered to edit that, Levi.
Fingers crossed.
People will enjoy that. Maybe some pitch shifting on it and make it sound all boomy and echoey.
Like the gods have spoken.
Yeah, you don't want to buy this. No, I mean, it's not for sale. Fortunately, it's not for sale, so you don't want to buy this. There are much better things that you could go out and spend your money on. For example, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. You guys are awesome. Love you very much. Though Perry, if you could make me a Strat, that'd be nice. Thanks, bud.
A multi-scale Strat.
No, well, you know how I feel about multi-scales for standard tuning. I don't see the point. So I'll allow it on the Rusty Cooley because the change in scale is so minimal, but because straight frets at the bridge. But,
and the fact that it feels like you could pretty much be fretting on the bridge pickup with that fucking access, man.
Oh, I did actually. I know it seems strange. This really does seem strange. Can you grab it while I'm talking to people?
Mm-hmm.
It seems strange right after talking about complimenting Ormsby and saying thank you very much for everything that you do for us. You're awesome. Go and check them out. In the interest of full disclosure and being honest, I did find something about this that is suboptimal.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how I feel about the idea of having 27 frets. There's just no need for it. For me, there's just no need for it. And it is amazing the access that you get to this, right? But of course, what a purist would say to you, and I don't believe this for a second, like when Leo Fender designed the Strat and the Telly, the idea that the neck pickup would be over the harmonic node at the 24th fret, that I think that's just nonsense. Because while that's true for the open strings, as soon as you fret a note, that harmonic node shifts in place, so it's completely irrelevant. But because the pickup can't be here, the pickup is further back, right? So it's not even about the tonal change. Grab your pick, put your palm on the bridge. Yeah, there you go.
That's just the nature of playing with something that doesn't have it's got like kind of higher pickups.
Yeah,
I think. You could do the old trick of taping over the edges.
I just don't want to hit the pickup in general. So for me, I was playing. I went to play battery on it, and I just found that because I'm not going to say I'm not a precise picker, but
wouldn't matter. You'd still hit the pickup.
Yeah,
I've been doing it there, and that's me trying not to.
Yeah, it's because we're, this is for a certain type of player.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word I'm looking for here? Someone with clinical levels of accuracy, where it's all about technique. Whereas I'm not that. I'm a dig-in player. I'm a dynamic player. I want to make some fucking thumps and shit. So yeah, I found that to be a little bit less than optimal. But
that upper fret access though,
it's fucking outrageous.
Absolutely disgusting how easy it is to just end up here and not know you're on the 27th fret.
Of course, the other way to get around this is you would adjust your picking hand so that your hand would be picking between here. But just if you're going to be palm muting, you'd need a weird hand position to do that. So
thing is though, that is an EMG. You could easily drop that.
Yeah.
Easily drop that. It's
definitely.
sitting at a good height, like for obviously getting output, but
it's a ridiculous height actually when you really look at it, how high that is.
I think it's because the neck's angled into the body.
Yeah.
So your bridge pickup looks like it's much lower. I think
right.
just the actual angle versus like the actual height from body.
Yeah.
So take your neck pickup down a bit and see if you feel better that way. And even, like I said, a wee bit of tape over the end.
It's not that big an issue. I just thought, for the sake of I'm always about that integrity, and if I don't like something, I'm going to say, well, if I think something's less than optimal, I'm going to say it. But I'm still happy to say that that's the best shred guitar on the market, especially for the price. You could spend double what that guitar costs, and you're not going to get a better instrument than that. So
Pretty ridiculous.
knocked it out of the park.
There's not really any arguing. The neck on it's just. It
Yeah.
feels weird because the fan isn't where I'm used to it being.
Sure.
So it feels like the neck's longer, which then makes it feel like if I'm here, then like, well, that only feels like it should be the 9th fret when it's the
Sure.
12th. There's the 15th, and I could feel as if I'm on the 12th. Like
I don't even think that's just the fan. I think it's because there's so many extra frets on it, and because the access to them is so clear. You have a real missensed place of how close you are to the fret you're going for.
Because your sense of relative
when you play,
size.
It's I know how far away from the nut I need to be, but I know how far away from the end of the guitar I need to be. So absolutely wild, very cool.
Ridiculous.
Anything you want to add?
Thanks very much for tuning in. Sorry that I have been back and forth, scatty, not like exactly fucking reliable, which hopefully that's...
You're great.
I'm hoping that fucking gut issue goes away, but, well, who knows? Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't.
Okay. Well, all right, Mike. Until next time.
Stay hydrated.